Okay, so I said I'd do like 2 recordings. So one's going to be more of like a kind of like Christian Bible-based recording. I'm not going to go too heavy into scripture, to be honest. I'm just going to kind of like sit and try and just listen to what I feel led to say. So it's not going to be heavy, super religious. So if anybody isn't a Christian that just wants to listen, please don't be afraid. It's actually nothing scary. I'm just going to read a few bits from the Bible, and just like nice stuff, nothing too heavy, not Deuteronomy about loads of people being born and dying and stuff like that. So I'm actually just going to read a bit which is from Psalm 39, which is about life being short. So I've only read the first bit, so I'm not quite sure where this is going at the moment, but we're going to do that. So we're going to start there, and then we're just going to kind of see where we go. I've got a few other bits that I thought about, but I don't want to read like really cheesy ones everyone knows about and stuff like that, or I kind of want to keep it in theme with the video that I've just done about just like being in a dry season, and maybe I might read a little bit about Joseph and what happened with him. Like he had a promise, and then it was like years before anything kind of happened. That's kind of where I'm at, I think. I feel like it's like when you're like in your 20s and you feel like someone says something to you like, oh yeah, you're gonna get married, but like when you're 63 and you're like, that's not really what I want to hear. But hey, yeah, so still single and wondering, I don't know if anyone else is like this. You kind of like wonder, did you go wrong somewhere? Like, did you just stuff something up, or like, I don't know, did I offend God when I was born, or like just weird things. But I don't know. To be honest, I do think, and I don't know if anyone else thinks this, but sometimes I think, you know what, like I kind of like being single free. Like, can you imagine if I was like married with 5 kids? I'd have to be like telling my husband like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the park and read some weird thing in case some YouTubers want to watch, and he'd be like, no, you have to get chained to the kitchen sink. Or like, not that everyone's like that, but just like, I could be married to somebody who's just horrible, and yeah, I've dated some horrible people, so I'm kind of glad I'm not there really now, to be honest. But yeah, let's do this. Oh, this is so funny. Like, I've honestly done this video, like, not this particular bit, but I've started this recording, and the bits earlier, I've done it like 4 or 5 times. Every time I've realised I've not actually hit flipping record. So I'm going to read this, but what I was trying to explain was that actually I'm not like a super crazy Christian. It's like I believe in it, and then I've like really struggled, to be honest, with my faith. Like, it's honestly the one thing that's kept me going. But what I will say is like it's like this last year, it's almost like, so if like God that I believe in doesn't exist, then something is out there looking after me, because oh my goodness, like this last year somehow I've survived financially, mentally, emotionally, everything, and not sorry about that, and not like just totally, I don't even know like how on earth things are not like gone completely wrong. I don't know how to explain it. It's like every few weeks, every month, I've like been running out of money, like extreme running out of money. Like all my bills were coming out, £200, £300, £500, £600, and like I just didn't have the money. Somehow, somewhere, I just found it from nowhere. Like, it makes no sense. And no, I don't have like, I'm not selling drugs or anything weird like that. And I don't have savings. I did have savings. They've literally just all gone. But anyway, and yeah, at the moment so what happened was I was trying to start my own business. Then I kind of like went back to lorry driving, but lived in my car because I couldn't afford to move, and I was paying rent down here, but I was like working away. It was just like mental. Like, I don't even understand. Like, I was literally sleeping in my car in service stations and stuff, and still paying my rent. And then anyway, then I like, yeah, I don't know. So, but that's just an example. Anyway, I'm going to read this and move on, because it's not really supposed to be about me. It's just supposed to be like more of a not exactly Bible study, but like just hopefully a time where maybe things speak to you. So I'll just read this. It says, life is short. So I feel that. I said, I will be careful how I act and will not sin by what I say. I will be careful what I say around wicked people. You know, when it says sin, I feel like some of the language can be kind of like a barrier for people understanding, you know, what God means in his word. But when he says sin, I think it means like, you know, to get angry, to react, to kind of like, you know, turn and be like them. So I kept very quiet. I didn't even say anything good, but I became even more upset. I became very angry inside, and as I thought about it, my anger burned, so I spoke. Lord, tell me, when will the end come and how long I will live? Let me know how long I have. You've given me only a short life. My lifetime is like nothing to you. Everyone's life is only a breath. People are like shadows moving about. All their work is for nothing. They collect things but don't know who will get them. So Lord, what hope do I have? You are my hope. Save me from all my sins. Don't let wicked fools make fun of me. I am quiet. I do not open my mouth because you are the one who has done this. Stop punishing me. Your beating is about to kill me. You correct and punish people for their sins. Like a moth, you destroy what they love. Everyone's life is only a breath. Lord, hear my prayer and listen to my cry. Do not ignore my tears. I am like a visitor with you. Like my ancestors, I'm only here for a short time. So it's kind of like quite heavy, actually. I didn't mean to read such a heavy one, but I feel like, yeah, I think that goes back to like saying about maybe like the lens, because I feel like that obviously, like, I don't know if you read further on in Psalms, I think he kind of changes his attitude a bit, but it's like, so this was written by David, and David was supposed to be somebody who was just quite like, he had like a close relationship with God, and if he felt something he would express it. He wasn't like the modern days where they just suppress it and don't say stuff. He was quite like vocal about stuff, probably a bit controversially so. So I feel like the way he expresses himself here is probably quite like poetic for how we would see it as being like an okay way to express ourselves. But it's true though, like, life is short, and yeah, I guess you could look at it like through that lens, like, you know, what's the point? But I think this kind of like reinforces that actually God isn't necessarily punishing us. Some of this is like self-inflicted stuff, the way we are interpreting how we feel our life is. I'm gonna have to switch positions a second. Okay, so I'm gonna read, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna read from basically Genesis, but it's like reading a bit about Joseph. So I'm gonna switch this camera because I'm quite camera shy. But basically, so if you imagine Joseph, he's been in prison, and then, like, can you imagine, like, if you were in prison, you were put there for something you didn't do, and then you're released, and then within, like, I don't know, 6 months, you're like Prime Minister or something. So you're just setting the scene as well. So there's been a famine in the land, and there's like, so nobody has any food, but there is food in Egypt. And then the reason why there's food in Egypt is because the skills that Joseph has. He was really good at making sure that the reserves were kept. So he was like that. Like, I think that's in a sense why he became the man for the job, because he basically stored everything up, ready for the famine that nobody knew was coming. So I'll read you this and then I'll tell you a little bit more about the backstory, but I'm gonna show like the trees or something nice instead. Okay, so the brothers go back to Egypt. So still no food grew in the land of Canaan. When Jacob's family had eaten all the grain that they had brought from Egypt, Jacob said to them, "Go to Egypt again and buy a little more grain for us to eat." But Judah said to Jacob, "The governor of that country strongly warned us, if you don't bring your brother back with you, you will not be allowed to see me. If you will send Benjamin with us, we will go down and buy food for you. But if you refuse to send Benjamin, we will not go." The governor of that country, the governor was Joseph, who was their brother. The governor of that country warned us that we would not see him if we didn't bring Benjamin with us. Israel said, this is the dad, "Why did you tell the man you had another brother? You've caused me a lot of trouble." The brothers answered, "He questioned us carefully about ourselves and our family. He asked us, 'Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother?' We just answered his questions. How could we know he would ask us to bring the other brother to him?" Then Judah said to his father Jacob, "Send Benjamin with me, and we will go at once, so that we, you, and our children may live and not die." I might just skip forward a bit. Okay. So basically they took gifts to try and appease the governor, basically. So the brothers took the gifts. They also took twice as much money as they had taken the first time, and they took Benjamin. They hurried down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. So when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the servant in charge of his house, "Bring those men into my house, kill an animal and prepare a meal." So this is like let's have a party. "Those men will eat with me today at noon." The servants did as Joseph told him and brought the men to Joseph's house. Now, obviously, I'm sure you probably know, but the backstory was that Joseph had like a dream that he would basically be ruling over his brothers and he'd be in charge. His brothers were jealous, and so because he was also the favourite of his dad, they decided to try and kill him, but they didn't end up killing him. They thought it would be better to sell him into slavery, so he went into slavery, then he ended up in prison, like a shortened version, and then he ended up as the governor of Egypt, but they didn't recognise him. So that's basically so the brothers were afraid when they were brought to Joseph's house and thought, "We were brought here because of the money that was put in our sacks on the first trip. He wants to attack us, make us slaves, and take our donkeys." So the brother went to the servant in charge of Joseph's house and spoke to him at the door of the house. They said, "Master, we came here once before to buy food, but while we were going home, we stopped for the night, and when we opened our sacks, we found all this money in his sack. We brought that money with us to give it back to you, and we have brought more money to pay for the food we want to buy this time. We don't know who put that money in our sacks." But the servant answered, "It's all right. Don't be afraid. Your God, the God of your father, must have put the money in your sacks. I got the money you paid me for the grain last time." Then the servant brought Simeon out to them. The servant led the men into Joseph's house and gave them water. They washed their feet, then donkeys given food, and then they went to eat. When Joseph came home, the brothers gave him the gift they had brought into the house and bowed down to the ground in front of him. Joseph asked how they were. He said, "How is your aged father you told me about? Is he still alive?" The brothers answered, "Your servant, our father, is well. He is still alive." And they bowed down to show respect. When Joseph saw his brother Benjamin, who had the same mother as he did, Joseph asked, "Is this your youngest brother that you told me about?" Then he said to them, Then he said to Benjamin, "God be good to you, my son." Then Joseph hurried off because he had to hold back his tears while he saw his brother Benjamin. So Joseph went into his room and cried there. Then he washed his face and came out. He controlled himself and said, "Serve the meal." So they served Joseph at one table, his brothers at another, and the Egyptians at another. This was because Egyptians did not like Hebrews and never ate with them. Joseph's brother was seated in front of him in order of their ages. Yeah. And then, so I'll skip forward because then he eventually reveals who he is. Joseph could not, 45. Joseph could not control himself in front of his servants any longer, so he cried out, "Have everyone leave me." When only the brothers were left with Joseph, he told them who he was. Joseph cried so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and the people in the king's palace heard about it. He said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" But the brothers could not answer him because they were very afraid of him. So Joseph said to them, "Come close to me." When the brothers came close, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, who you sold as a slave into Egypt. Now don't be worried or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. God sent me here ahead of you because to save your people's lives. No one has grown on the land for 2 years now, and there will be 5 more years without planting or harvest. So God sent me here ahead of you to make sure you have some descendants left on the earth and to keep you alive in an amazing way." So I'm just going to leave that there. But I don't know what I think. One of the things I was thinking was, I think it's going back to that lens thing. Like, sometimes we think we know what life's all about, we know what our plans are, we know this, we know that, and then something happens and like the ropes kind of like the carpet's pulled out from under our feet, or somebody turns up that, like, things happen. Like, sometimes people come into our lives that are important, we don't know who they are, we don't realise, like, we're just human, like, we don't always understand everything. Sometimes we make decisions that are the wrong decisions because we think we understood the circumstances, but we didn't really understand everything. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not very good at ending these things, but I think I'm just going to leave that there. But basically, I feel like it's something for you to think about, pray about, like some of the things that I've said, if some of it resonates. But one of the things I did feel very much like I was supposed to say was that I feel like some people, and I feel like it might be the same person, you feel very much like you thought you were going to be somebody, you thought you were going to be something special in your mind, like this is how you see it, like you were going to be something special, you're going to prove yourself in a certain way, and then like now you look back, it's like you did okay, but you didn't, it's like you kind of disappointed, and I feel like you started to feel like you're just nobody, and you're not nobody, you're actually it's like Joseph, like I feel like we've all got these skills that are really needed. We all, like, life's like a puzzle, we all have like a part to play. You might be a dad or a mum, but you're like the best mum, do you know what I mean? But or you might have a job and that's like your thing where you excel, other things you might be struggling a little bit. But it's like I feel like it's about like just not beating ourselves up. Like, I feel like life has become so much about doing, so much about getting, so much about being, so much about going after stuff. I feel like we don't like look at this park, like people are off, people are like, not everyone's at work, but who is in the park? you know, like when I was younger, I remember people would come to the park and play, like people would meet in the park. I feel like people now, like so many people just sat on their computers trying to make more money, trying to do a side hustle, trying to do this, trying to do that, like just trying to kind of like cheat life all the time, trying to get ahead. And actually I think some of that is maybe just like, maybe people are just so busy sometimes they don't stop and work out actually what's like their thing that they excel in. Because I feel like sometimes I do really think that some people just feel like they get left behind, because it feels like everybody's good at everything, and like, and it might be that you feel that you're kind of just okay at everything, you're just kind of getting through life, and I just don't think that's true. So I feel like do you know what I feel like? I feel like God's saying, like, or the universe is saying, I see you, like, you are important, you are special. Like, look at Joseph, like, he was in prison, and then, you know, whether you believe it or not, you know, whether you believe it's an actual story or whether you just believe it's like a fiction thing, you know, it's fine, you can believe it's just like a fiction thing. Maybe it is, I don't know, I have no answers, but you know, like, it's basically just not over until, you know, until the lady sings. I don't want to call her fat because it's not very nice, is it? And, you know, who am I to judge? But yeah, it's just not over until it's like actually over. So, you know, I just think I'd encourage you today, like, if you're feeling like you had these dreams and you've not really like got anywhere, or you're just disappointed, I don't know, or you just feel like you've put an awful lot of effort into everything but nothing's really got anywhere. And I did feel very much like I kept having to play record, and then I hadn't played record, and it's like almost like doing a redo of your life over and over. So I just think, like, make time for like some fun stuff. Maybe you're just on your own, okay, like me, but, you know, still make time just to chill. Just go sit somewhere, go to the beach, go sit in the park, go sit in your garden, maybe even like go knock on your neighbour and see if they're okay. Like, maybe you've got an elderly neighbour, go see them, go see how they are, ask them a little bit about their life if you don't know anything about them. You know, sometimes you can have these such special times just from like just saying hi, are you okay, how are you doing? And sometimes as well, like, I've had this where I've literally just like gone round and said to someone, you know, are you okay? And then they've been like dead lonely, they've invited me for a cup of tea, and then it's just been like, oh my god, I feel so like blessed from like having that conversation with you. Like, I remember talking to this Chinese couple, and they were telling me, like, when he was younger, like he was like on a boat in China or something, and he was like, his job was to like look at the stars and look for the North Star so that the boat knew where it was going. And it's like, sometimes until you like go and speak to people, and like not like they're just the normal people, but like, you know, some people are all around you the whole time, but you miss them because you sometimes you just presume that they wouldn't want to talk to you, and actually sometimes the way that they look or the impression that you get of them might not be who they are at all. So, and the same for you, like you wouldn't want to be judged, and I'm sure we all do it. So yeah, I'm going to leave that here anyway. And I think yeah, just like, if you feel comfortable praying, pray about the things that I've said. If not, like, just let it like sit in your heart. Just take time, maybe journal, just jot a few things down. You can bin it afterwards, throw it away. But just take a little bit of time to go, do you know what, actually, this is what I've been doing, like, for the last few weeks, the last month, last year. I'm just going to take like a couple of hours out, or an hour out, or half an hour out. I'm just going to sit and just like, just I don't know, like that reset where when you go back to it, suddenly things kind of seem a bit more like they make more sense. So yeah, I'm going to go for now.